Lexi screamed and I jumped. She squeezed my hand tightly. I thought she was going to cut off the circulation of my arm. We walked a bit further and the cool breeze on my face let me know that we were outside the haunted house. "Did you girls have fun?" our dad asked. "It was creepy," Lexi shuddered. "I don't know why Precious always wants us to go there. She can't see anything anyway." I laughed and shrugged. I like the thrill of it. Hi, my name is Precious. Do you want to hear my story? Like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. Once you do, you will not only hear my story, but interesting stories from my friends as well. My bizarre story started as early as my 5th birthday, when my parents thought it was a fun idea to have a petting zoo and pony rides. At that age, like most 5-year-old girls, I was obsessed with ponies. My obsession quickly faded when a pony was jolted by a firecracker and I was hit in the face. At the hospital, they gave me a clean bill of health. However, my eyesight was botched. Luckily for me, my Auntie Lynn, my mother's sister, was an ophthalmologist. An ophthalmologist is a person who is licensed to practice medicine, perform surgeries, diagnose as well as treat all eye diseases, perform eye surgery, prescribe, and last but not least, fit eyeglasses and contact lenses. Auntie Lynn took me under her wing and promised that one day I would regain my eyesight if I followed her strict instructions. Auntie Lynn had just opened her own practice. She said with the use of stem cell transplants that I would get back my eyesight in no time. Even though my parents sued the petting zoo, it still wasn't enough to perform my much-needed surgeries. Auntie Lynn was able to request additional funding for my surgeries on behalf of her practice from government agencies. Auntie Lynn insisted I wear a black blindfold, doubled with black glasses to protect my eyes from the light. Mom changed my blindfold every day. We always did it with the blinds closed and the light off. She always instructed me to keep my eyes closed when she took it off, which I did without question. My mother ensured that my black blindfold went through my hair so it was less noticeable. She didn't like the fact that kids teased me about it, even though it helped lessen the teasing. I still did not have any other friends besides my sister Lexi. I adored Lexi. I often worried as we grew older that we would grow apart, but 10 years later, we're still inseparable. She worked extremely hard just so she could be in the same year that I was at school, since she was a year younger than I. It was a lifesaver for me since other children did not want to get stuck with the blind girl for projects and homework assignments. She made everything better. I would do anything for Lexi. I was scheduled for another eye surgery in a few months, and my mother was extra protective of my eyes. I was really hoping that this was the last surgery. If this surgery couldn't correct my eyes, I was prepared to tell my parents that I had accepted my fate. After all, it had been 10 years. I was so tired of getting my hopes up. Then Auntie Lynn said we needed to do one more surgery. About a month before my surgery, my sister and I were walking home from the library. Ugh, it's already 5:45 p.m. No way will we make it home for 6. Lexi sighed heavily. Well, there is nothing we can do about it. We needed to get that project done, I replied. Yeah, but tonight is Wednesday. On Wednesdays, we get chocolate cake for dessert. You know Mom doesn't like it when we are late. And worse yet, we won't get dessert. So what can we do about it, Lexi? How about we take this shortcut through the park? We may be able to make it just in time. You know how I feel about walking through the park in the evening. It's not safe, Lexi. Come on, Precious. It's still light out. We will be okay. Against my better judgment, I agreed. However, that shortcut through the park changed my life completely. Lexi and I were talking and laughing as we walked through the park. I held on to her elbow when she suddenly stood still. What's wrong, Lexi? I asked worriedly as I felt her entire body tense. Lexi did not answer right away. After a few seconds, she responded, Let's go back the other way, Lexi suggested as she tried to turn me in the other direction. That doesn't make any sense, Lexi. What's wrong? I asked firmly. Look at what we have here. A blind mouse and her helper, a strange male voice said. My blood ran cold. Lexi, tell me what's happening, I said as I tried to keep the panic out of my voice. You don't have anything to worry about, Lexi assured me. We'll be fine. I heard another male voice say, As long as you little ladies hand over your belongings without any fuss, you will not have anything to worry about. Lexi and I handed over our book bags and cell phones. Lexi grabbed my hand and we tried to walk away, but the men refused to let us go. How much do you think a walking stick is worth these days? One of the men asked. I felt someone grab my walking stick. "Hey," I shouted, "give that back." "We gave you everything you wanted. You need to let us go now," Lexi shouted. Lexi and I were both pushed to the ground. One of the men said, "I wonder how she will look without the glasses." I held on to my glasses and curled up into a ball. I couldn't let them get my glasses. I needed to protect my eyes at all costs. I fought hard and heard Lexi screaming next to me for them to stop. Eventually, the guys were able to take off my glasses and the blindfold. Immediately, I covered my eyes with my hands, knowing how important it was to protect my eyes from light. Suddenly, we heard the voice of an older gentleman. "Hey, what are you guys doing over there?" he shouted. "Let's go," one of the men shouted to the other. "Are you kids okay?" the older gentleman asked us as he got closer. Lexi told the man what transpired, and the man called the police. Lexi helped me up, and even though I knew I wasn't supposed to, something told me that I should. Call it intuition or gut instinct, but whatever it was, I followed the instruction and opened my eyes. I squeezed Lexi's hand and whispered in surprise, "Lexi, I can see." "What? What do you mean?" she asked, just as shocked as I was. Just then, the two police officers walked up and took our statements. We also thanked the gentleman who helped us. The officers escorted us home and told our parents what had happened. Our parents were relieved that we were okay and thanked the police officers for bringing us home. After dinner that night, Lexi and I usually stayed up and chatted much longer than our mother would have liked if she knew. "Precious, what you said at the park about seeing, is it true?" Lexi asked hesitantly. "Well, I think so. My vision was a little blurry, but..." My voice trailed off. I removed my glasses and slowly unwrapped my blindfold. I opened my eyes, one first, then the other. "So?" Lexi asked curiously. I nodded my head as my eyes filled with tears. Lexi came over and hugged me tightly. "I'm so happy for you," Lexi said. When I composed myself, I thanked her for not saying anything to Mom and Dad. Lexi pulled away and asked, "But do you think Mom and Dad knows? What about Auntie Lynn? Why did they make you believe you are blind when you aren't?" "I don't understand it either. I mean, why did Auntie Lynn, Mom, and Dad carry on this elaborate charade of me being blind?" I asked. "The bigger question is, who does that benefit?" Lexi asked as she rubbed her chin thoughtfully. "That's what I need to find out." Lexi and I pretended that nothing changed. I had an appointment with Auntie Lynn the next week. We needed to get into Auntie Lynn's computers to see what they were up to. Lexi said that she would tell Auntie Lynn that she forgot to email a part of her assignment, and it was due that day. If they questioned her further, she would say that she needed to retrieve it from her email, then submit it to the teacher. While doing the checkup with Auntie Lynn, my mother came in and asked Auntie Lynn if it was possible for Lexi to use her laptop, because she needed to send an assignment and it was due in 30 minutes. Auntie Lynn agreed. She handed my mother the laptop, and my mother walked out of the office. After my appointment, I was anxious to get home to find out what Lexi found out. That night, when we were positive that our parents were asleep, I took off my glasses and the blindfold. "So, what did you get?" I asked Lexi excitedly. "I got a lot of information, but I did not have time to sort through everything," Lexi said as she logged into the computer. "I emailed myself all the information, so all we have to do is download the information and sort through it ourselves." She smirked. "Luckily for me, I now have an extra pair of eyes to help me look through all the information that I got." I laughed and threw a pillow at her. I got up from the bed, pulled a chair, and sat next to Lexi by the desk. After downloading all the documents, we began to sift through the information. Suddenly, our bedroom door opened and I slid under the desk quickly. Mom peered around the door. "What are you doing up so late?" Mom questioned Lexi. "I'm finishing up a class assignment," Lexi lied. Mom looked over at my bed. "Where is Precious?" "Oh, she's in the bathroom." "Okay, but don't stay up too late. It's a school night." We both breathed a sigh of relief when our mom closed the door. "That was too close for comfort," I said as I climbed out from under the desk. "Let's call it a night." Lexi agreed. The next few days, we did find out quite a lot of information from the documents that Lexi found. Auntie Lynn got funding of as much as $100,000 for my stem cell eye surgery. This did not include research, equipment, and human resources. When we did tally how much money Auntie Lynn did collect over the past 10 years, it totaled over $50 million. We gathered that my aunt used me as a test subject. After 3 surgeries, my eyesight should have improved enough for me to use glasses to support my vision. Basically, I was robbed approximately 7 years of my life because of greed. If that news wasn't shocking enough, we also found bank receipts where Auntie Lynn gave my parents money every month. I was angry and sad at the same time. Did my parents hate me? How could they use me like this? "So what do we do now?" Lexi asked in frustration. We can't go to the police. If we do, Mom and Dad will be arrested, and that leaves us open to the foster care system. We definitely can't have that. We need to come up with a plan that will eventually get us away from Mom and Dad for good, I said. After bouncing ideas off each other till the wee hours of the morning, we came up with a plan. We decided that we would fake our kidnapping and get our parents to pay a ransom. After all, I should get a cut of all the money they swindled the government, shouldn't I? Lexi had a friend, Dan, who was deep into computers and could hack into anything. She even told me that the government even hired him a few times when their best tech guys got stuck. We got him to create a bank account for Lexi and I, and he helped us set up the kidnapping. We told him once everything was successful that we would pay him $5 million. Lexi and I decided that we would stash our $20 million till she turned 18. Lexi and I went to school as usual, and that day we just didn't go home. Dan allowed us to stay in his secret computer lab that was totally closed off and safe from everyone. We waited till day 3 to contact our parents and send the ransom note. We told them not to get the police, or Lexi and I would disappear forever. We even sent a picture of Lexi and I tied up as proof. My parents said that they needed time to get the $25 million. We told them that they had 2 days to get it, or their daughters would disappear without a trace. When the 2-day timeline was up, we sent them the account information for the deposit to occur. Dan did his magic to ensure that there were no traces of money ever being sent from my parents' account or sent to our account. As promised, we paid Dan his $5 million and thanked him for helping us out. The next day, Lexi and I returned home. Lexi told our parents that she was blindfolded for the entire time, so we had no idea where we were taken. They didn't think to ask me anything because to them I was their blind, innocent daughter. They had no reason to believe that either of us were lying. Lexi and I kept up the charade of me being blind for the next 4 years, until Lexi was 18. We almost got caught a few times, but we made it. The day we left home, we wrote a letter for our parents and stuck it on the refrigerator. We told them that we knew what they did, and we sent them documents of the proof. We also informed them that if they tried to find us or contact us, that we would go immediately to the police. We warned that if anything were to happen to us, that all the documents would enter the social media domain, and Auntie Lynn's scam would be shut down for good. A word to the wise, don't take your vision for granted, because what you are taking for granted, someone else is longing for.